Okay, welcome back to the pre-show, y'all.
So I think I'm losing my hair. I can't decide if it's because like I'm uncleanly and like I just haven't vacuumed a lot down here recently, and if I'm just like overthinking it and thinking like of course something's wrong with me, but there's like hair everywhere in my room and in my shower and like all over the basement. And then when I was driving to the grocery store yesterday with my mom, there was like a hairball stuck to my sweatpants. And so I was like, oh geez, and I like picked it up and threw it out the window because it's natural. It wasn't actually trash, it was just my hair. It's fine, people. And my mom was like, yeah, I've been noticing a lot of hair around the basement and stuff. And then I'm like, is my hair, like, am I losing my fucking hair? And now I'm like freaking out. I'm like convinced that I'm losing my hair. So I'm not doing anything, or like I put heat on it, you know, like twice a week and that's it. And I've like gone through all my products in the past recent months and like I've cleaned out anything that I think is like bad stuff in it. But I haven't been to the doctor in like 3 years. So I'm trying to get a doctor so I can go in because I'll need like a referral to a dermatologist. I might be going so overboard for this, but like I don't fuck with my hair. I love my hair and I would be so sad if anything happened to it. So
yeah, no.
Anyways,
I don't
that's
think you're
been giving
going
me a
overboard.
lot of anxiety this past week.
Kind of noticed the same thing with me though. So I don't think you have anything to worry about, but I also think it's good to go and see a doctor about it. But
just in case.
Yeah, because I used to live with 3 other girls, and so I would find like mounds of hair and just be like, oh, these fucking bitches are leaving their hair everywhere. And, you know, just finding every excuse in the book to be like, I'm not leaving my hair everywhere. And now that Jack and I live together, obviously he's a boy, and then we are like the first people to live in this apartment. And so I'm finding all this hair everywhere, and I'm like, was it me the whole time?
And you lose on average like 50 to 100 hairs per day. So then I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, that's a lot of hair.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it could like very well just be adding up. And then I'm like looking at my brush and I'm like, I feel like my brush has more hair in it, but it's like I'm like bad about cleaning my brush out. I think it's fine, but just for like my peace of mind, like this is one thing that I could control, like knowing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I will try to get into a doctor just to like get a referral because I don't fuck with my hair. I love my hair, but I'm not dyeing it or doing anything to it anytime soon now because I just like want to try to keep it as healthy as possible.
Yeah, no, totally. I get it.
Anyways, that's my week. How's your day?
My day is good. I am happy to have a day off. They try to keep getting me to come in on my days off, and I'm just like, today, they asked me yesterday during my shift because I closed yesterday till 10, and they're like, we need somebody to open. I'm like, I'm not getting home at 11 and then turning around and coming back at 4:30 a.m. Like, you're out of your goddamn mind. And then they're like, okay, well, what about like 7? And I'm like, still no. Did we do a Bachelor catch up in our 50 Shades?
No, we didn't.
What were you gonna
say? All this shit with? I was gonna say, did you see all this shit with Chris Harrison?
Yeah, dude, I've never liked him.
No.
And I was telling Jack the other day, like, I think the reason why I don't like him is because he is the entire bullshit of that show personified into one person. Like, he is always like, you're all here to find true love that will last a lifetime. It's like, bitch, statistically, no, the fuck they aren't. They're here to get their Instagram followers, cash that check, and leave. Like, stop with the bullshit, Chris. You suck. And his whole act with Heather, like, Heather, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Can we just stop? The 2 people who actually buy that shit should just have to fucking deal with the fact that, like, they're stupid. You don't need to put on that little show for the 2 dumbasses that actually think you're being serious.
I feel like one of us really should go on The Bachelor to like really boost this podcast up.
Yes.
Because that's what happens. We really need that little bit of extra push. But yeah, that whole interview was so uncomfortable to watch with Rachel. I love Rachel Lindsay. She was one of my favorite bachelorettes, and she held herself well, because if he was talking to me like that, I don't think I would have been able to like be that professional. I think I would have gotten to the point where I was just like, fuck off. Like, she never did. Go Rachel. And we had talked in our episode last week, like how we want like to hear what Rachel Kirkconnell is going to say to like defend herself, because like to Katie and and like I would hope to many people that her actions are indefensible and like there's no excuse for them. And Rachel Lindsay was like, Rachel Kirkconnell is not like, it's not in her contract that she can't speak, so she's like choosing not to, or like being advised not to, which I'm like, I think she was probably hoping that this would all blow over and she could like win this season if she is the winner. I don't know, I haven't looked up spoilers, but I'm like kind of assuming at this point, if they're like trying to paint her so well and like Chris Harrison is like defending her, I don't know. Now I don't think she has a chance of it blowing over with this stuff now with Chris too. Like I hope she has to atone.
Atone. Yeah, I did not. I only watched a little bit of the interview. Like if I would have sat through the whole thing, I probably would have imploded, but
it was very frustrating.
The mansplaining to a Black woman that she shouldn't be upset about racism is like, cancel the whole fucking show. Get that guy off the show. I don't like him anymore.
Yeah.
The fact that they're like, we have a Black bachelor for the first time, and then this fucking shit happens. And if he ends up with Rachel, fuck that shit. Like, I'm done watching The Bachelor after this season. I don't know. I'm very upset about it.
I mean, I'll keep tuning in, but I'll still be judging it just as harshly as I do now. I think if you're watching this show, you have to watch it and be aware that it's all ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and kind of like put your morals aside.
Yeah, it's like one of my friends and I talk about when we're reading, or just like in general, I am like naturally very drawn to the villain, or like these certain kinds of characters that are more like villainous, darker. Anyways, her and I were talking, and we were talking back and forth, and we were just like, do you ever just have to like put your feminism aside when you're reading and just be like, I'm into this? And we were both on the same page. We're like, in real life, we're like, there's no way that we would let this shit pass, but then you can like enjoy watching The Bachelor and like put your morality aside, or you can be reading these books with like these mafia bosses and being like, feminism what? Like, I think it's important that you keep like a hand on reality, but you can still, I think, enjoy The Bachelor and certain things and know that The Bachelor is not what you should be watching to like model your life and morals after, you know?
No, definitely not. I don't know where I stand with that. I mean, I know where I stand with the racism thing and like them trying to
that's different.
Blow it over. That's totally different. Yeah. And like it is just one contestant on the show with like tons of contestants, and Bachelor Nation has a ton of like really flawed people and really amazing people who like Rachel, what's her last name? Rachel Lindsay, who are doing like really good things. So I don't know. I think you just kind of you can't like cancel the whole show just because of one person, but I mean, to each their own. Like, you can do what you want to do. I think Chris Harrison should be fired. I've never liked him. I've always thought his presence on the show is so fucking unnecessary and honestly really annoying.
I was thinking about this because then I was listening to Chatty Broads, which is short-haired, but you didn't watch Ari's season, did you?
No.
Okay, so there was this contestant on there, Becca, short hair Becca, not the Becca that went on to be the Bachelorette, but she co-hosts this with her friend Jess, and they were talking about it, and they were like, why not give like Rachel Lindsay like the new hosting gig? Because they're like, she would be great as a host, because she would be like fully aware of how ridiculous this all is. And I'm like, while I would love to see her do that, it's kind of below Rachel. If I'm gonna be honest, like I think Rachel is like, she's above the Bachelor franchise. Not like that she thinks that she is, but like I just feel like she's on to bigger and better things, and like she doesn't need to get dragged back down with the Bachelor. If she decided to host, I would be very happy with that. But I just think that she deserves better than this hosting job, you know?
Yeah, she could elevate it though in a way, like bring it up to her level too, and like give it a fresh new spin. And with shows like The Bachelor, it's so hard because people love tradition, and I feel like ABC shows are so like kind of teetering this line of like fulfilling expectations that people have. And like part of the reason why people tune into shows like Dancing with the Stars or The Bachelor is because they know what to expect. Like It's very comfortable, long running reality TV, I say in quotes, that like, I don't know, it's just comfortable for people. So when things change, it's sometimes not always for the better because you can lose that audience that's literally been watching since the freaking early 90s.
But I feel like The Bachelor can afford to take a hit. Like they are not, I don't think, one of those shows that are like teetering on maybe getting cut from the air. Like The Bachelor is huge, you know?
Yeah.
And I just think that they have a bigger issue at hand than just Rachel Kirkconnell on the show. Like it's repetitive of always having problematic people on the show. And like we said, it's different of being like a villain and then like exhibiting racist behavior or transphobic behavior. Or like with Luke P, where I was like, that literally looks like an abusive relationship playing out on my screen. Like there are those things that I'm like, The Bachelor, you really need to like get on top of that shit, because that is not even fun to watch. Like there's nothing fun about,
and the slut shaming and like the calling each other whores and bitch, and like Victoria being the villain of this season, and like Anna calling out like sex work as being something to like demonize somebody. It's becoming like their outdatedness is starting to show. I agree. And like they could afford to change things up a little bit, switch up the dynamic. It really is the same thing every season, but now it's like kind of over the top, like with the slut shaming and stuff. I don't know.
I just want to clarify that when I was saying like that you have to put aside your morals to like enjoy this show, I don't mean that you should like excuse the racism then that like contestants do in real life. So I just want to like clarify that I didn't mean that. Like Katie and I both said last week, like, Rachel, honey, you're not it.
Yeah.
Like you don't really have an excuse for your actions. And then how Chris Harrison was like, was it a bad look in 2018 and just not a good look in 2021? I'm like, I don't think ever having like having an antebellum ball on a plantation ever was like a good look. I don't get that. And also it's not, he was trying to be like, it was so many years ago. We're in February. It's not like we're at the end of 2021, like it was 2 years ago pretty much. So
and this whole narrative of like the woke police, I'm so over that bullshit. Like people are just looking for things to rip people down on. It's like, no, people are just trying to hold these people in the spotlight who, no matter what, when you go on the show, you get a following and like you get brand deals out of this. Like we're just trying to hold people accountable. And I'm not saying like, I don't know. I know there are people who deep dive into people's lives and like bring up some stuff that may or may not even like be that big of a deal. I don't know. I don't want to be the one to like make these hard hitting statements that are like, these people deserve to be ripped down and these people don't, or whatever. I'm not trying to say that, but like, I just hate that phrase, woke police. Like accountability isn't policing. Like, sorry that white people are being asked to literally do the bare minimum for the first time in fucking forever. Like they're like, oh, just because now it's wrong. It's like, what do you mean just because? Like finally it's wrong, finally we're calling this shit out. Like we should have been calling it out in 2018, but we didn't. It's always been wrong. What are you talking about? Finally, this should have been happening so long ago. And the fact that you're feeling like, oh, I'm being policed now, fuck you, fuck off, whatever. Okay, you're being asked to not say the N-word and to not fucking dress up as a Native American for Halloween. Boo fucking who, bitch. I don't give a fuck
if bigger you feel
bad about that. Yeah, literally. Ooh, it makes me mad. Oh my god.
Well, so Gina Carano was fired from The Mandalorian. So then again, some people were hopping on that and being like, you can't say anything online anymore. And everyone's just looking to like cancel someone for anything. And cancel culture, Katie and I have talked about sometimes, is not the best for people. Like, remember when Jenna Marbles quit YouTube and Katie and I were like, this is someone who is genuinely like made changes over their life and like genuinely was sorry. And like there's a difference between that and then like Gina Carano actively being like transphobic and outwardly offensive towards people of color, and I don't even remember what all of her things were, but I do remember like it was specifically towards like the trans community. And it's just like, again, we're just asking you to do the bare minimum, that you just accept that people, that this is like their identity and who they are. Like, I don't really get why then that's bad that people are getting called out on being disrespectful and transphobic towards the LGBTQ community. Like, why? I don't get why that would be why that is like, oh my god, how dare we do that to her? It's like, how dare she? And like be given a spotlight.
Yeah. Well, and like you can't cancel a person, like we've said that before, you know, these people will continue to exist and live, and like I think giving somebody like death threats and stuff is in any circumstance like not okay, you know, but people do take it to the extreme. I'm not denying that. But there's a difference between like cancel culture and just holding people accountable. And I think we haven't found like a good balance in society yet. And so the people who want to just excuse racism and go on like and not really see change because none of this shit affects them, and like they're never going to have to fear for their lives because of the color of their skin or their sexual orientation or their gender or anything. It like they're taking it to the extreme of being like, why, like everybody just wants to cancel everybody and blah blah blah. It's like most people just want to see accountability being taken, and like these famous people or people in the spotlight, like they're getting a lot of money, and they're you know, no, I just said like they deserve a chance for redemption and like to try to be like a better person, but they need to be held accountable. We can't just like appease them and be like, oh, it's okay, you know, don't do it again.
And let's be real, I mean, I can't predict the future, so we'll see how it all plays out, but it's like Rachel Kirkconnell, she's gonna be fine, guys.
She'll be fine. If she wins, that's tragic though.
I'm just assuming she is now because of like the mass defense that Chris Harrison took for her, and also the fact that she's not speaking out, because I think she's trying to stay in production's good side.
Yeah, well, they just shot themselves in the foot with that Chris Harrison interview.
Yeah, that was bad, real bad. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh.
Okay, I'm recording.
Okay, now I'm recording too.
Buckle up,
because it's gonna be a long ride.
It's gonna be a wild ride.
No one cares, but we're gonna tell you anyways.
This is Popcorn Chats.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Popcorn Chats. I'm MICHAE.
And I'm Katie.
And before we even jump into what this episode is this week, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you go to the rating and review section and give us a 5-star rating and drop us a review if you feel so inclined. Katie and I got our first 1-star rating. Hey!
Fuck you, whoever did that. Literally.
Thank you so much. I really think that your feedback, we're really going to take it to heart. You didn't leave any comments, so all we have to go on is that you gave us a 1-star, which says a lot about you. So Thank you. If you are on Apple Pods, do that. If you're on Google, if you are on Spotify, make sure that you are following us, so that way we pop up on your homepage every single Monday with our new episodes. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you are notified when our new episodes go up. And if you're listening on any of the other podcast services, I guess do whatever you got to do to subscribe on those too. Anyways, thank you so much. I have never given a book a 1-star rating on Goodreads because I feel bad. Because I'm like, even if I didn't like the book, there was this one book that I read that I just absolutely did not like, but I still finished it. I did it for a reading vlog, and I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads because I'm like, was it a bad book? Like, that's up for opinion. I kind of think so, but I'm like, the writing wasn't bad, and I ended up finishing it. And this author, like, took the time to write it.
That's what I was gonna say. These fucking episodes take days. We record, and then, like, we prep by watching shit. Like, it's time consuming, and then editing takes a long fucking time, so fuck you. Maybe if you ran a business yourself, you would know what it's like, but you don't. I totally butchered that, but yeah, moral of the story, fuck you, whoever did that. And
yeah.
we rise at dawn, everybody. We will track this person down.
And then, like, as I'm thinking back, I'm like trying to think of who I know that it might be, and whatever. I hope you felt good about your day doing that.
Shout out to everybody who's given us 5-star reviews, because we should be uplifting them rather than focusing on the haters. And it's kind of cool that we have haters now.
I know, it was kind of fun. It was actually like kind of exciting to see 1 star. Like, I didn't get a sinking feeling in my stomach. It was more kind of like a hey.
Yeah, it was endearing, but I was also just like, seriously.
Anyways, so today we got to continue on with our little Friday tradition of having a new movie to watch today, to then record on. So just in time for Valentine's Day, it was To All the Boys I Loved Before. Oh, was it Always and Forever? I just put 3 down on my notes, but I think it was called Always and Forever. So this was I think we'll still brand it as a cringe episode, but Katie and I low-key kind of enjoyed this movie, so we're gonna get into it.
Yeah, so this is kind of weird because you guys will be hearing our episode on 50 Shades next week, but we recorded that episode already, so it feels like it's just a little bit out of order, but this theme will hold true. I'm a changed woman. I don't know what's going on with me. The old cynical Katie cannot come to the phone because she's dead. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm watching this movie, like, prepared to hate it, and I just didn't. I never felt a cringe run through my body. I never felt, I mean, of course there were, like, some moments that were, like, stupid, but I was also like, who cares? I like it. I don't know. It was
endearing.
It was cute and fun, and I liked the vibe. It was stunning visually, and it was just fun. I don't know. Like, who cares, honestly, if it's a little unrealistic? Who gives a fuck? It's a movie.
I mean, I don't. At the end when they're like, not every couple can do it, but we're not every couple. I was like, I believe in you guys. But I mean, we're not as shocked that I kind of was into it. I think it's the fact that Katie, that you're into it whatsoever, is shocking. And as you guys will hear next week in our 50 Shades episode, Katie was kind of into 50 Shades as well. So I mean, we already know that I love trash, so
I mean, yeah, like, the trashness is not lost on me. Like, I know that it's there, but I just don't feel as intense of a focus on it.
And it's kind of what we were talking about in our pre-show here. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Pods or something, you can catch our exclusive visual-only pre-show on our YouTube Popcorn Chats channel. You can catch that there. But we were talking about how, like, if you're watching The Bachelor, you kind of have to put your morals aside to enjoy this show. And it's kind of like with these or with 50 Shades, like, I did not come into this movie expecting to see the best cinematography and the most dynamic plot lines and raw, real emotions and, like, Oscar-worthy content. I was just trying to enjoy myself this fine Friday morning. I just wanted something fun. I wanted something cute, and I wanted a cute little love story, and that is exactly what I got. So I think if you adjust your expectations, you can enjoy things that are not necessarily, like, the highest of quality, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, I think maybe that's it. I had pretty low expectations just because coming off of the second movie, like, I didn't really like that one. I think that also plays a role. And then, yeah, just my cynical nature viewing these types of movies. But I don't know. I told Michaela living with Jack is making me soft. I'm just very in a lovey-dovey mood.
As we typically do with these cringe episodes, we normally do, like, our standout cringe star, standout cringe scene. And Katie, if you have either of those, let's do them. But otherwise, I didn't really have any moment that I was like, ugh. And I didn't really have any person that I was watching and I was like,
cringe star. Like, all of the characters have some cringier moments, but, like, no one really stood out as, like, the cringiest. Like, nobody's Joey King status in this. I think maybe the whole series, like, as a collective, I would say Peter is the cringiest. Honestly, John Ambrose, I did not like him at all.
I really like Jordan Fisher, but I was not a fan of John Ambrose either. I think I went into this with the lowest of low expectations for Peter Kavinsky because Noah Centineo for me from like the first To All the Boys I Loved Before movie, when he like made a splash, I was like, ooh, he's really cute, love him. I get why like all the teens are liking him. He just completely tanked himself for me.
Yeah.
By the second movie, I was so unattracted to him
Yeah.
that like the whole second movie was bad. And then in this one, I like can't not think about that one acceptance award speech when he's like, don't think of what you can do for others or what others. He tried to be poetic and it didn't work. And then he had like the shaved head. I don't know. He's like gone so downhill for me. But then in this, I was like, am I liking Noah Centineo again? Not him personally, but I'm actually kind of digging his vibe. And I was like way back on Team Peter in this movie. I was really feeling Peter. And I was
Yeah.
very confused.
I'm confused as well. I didn't like him at all in the second movie. Yeah, I think the first movie did a really good job of like subverting our expectations, and we thought that she would end up with the sister's ex because she like genuinely really liked him. We kind of saw in that movie how her and Peter made sense, and like we saw his redeeming qualities and how he was a good match. And then the second movie was basically all about why she shouldn't be with Peter. And so I think that combined with Noah Centineo just like ruining himself and like destroying his own public image a little bit, and that combination was not very good for like the second movie as a whole and him being a likable leading man. But this third one was very redeeming in my eyes.
And I liked that there wasn't a love triangle in this one either.
Same.
I liked that there wasn't a third guy again, because I feel like that would have gotten way too repetitive. And like
Agreed.
at this point, if Lara Jean has chosen Peter twice, she wasn't gonna meet someone else all of a sudden that was gonna pop up and then she was gonna leave him.
I liked that instead this time it was college that she had to like kind of make this tough decision about. So do you have a cringe scene? I don't even.
No, I think the only shot that I was like, what was that? Was when she's at that rooftop party in New York and she stands there with her phone
That
and
was
she
really
holds
awkward.
it like this. She just stands there like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, if you're listening, sorry you can't see that, but if you've watched the movie, you'll know what point I'm talking about. That was the only thing that I was like, ooh. But otherwise, I didn't really have a cringe scene where there was like a moment of dialogue or something that just felt off. I didn't really have any of that. Or even like the montagey moments. There was never that. I don't know.
I was a little put off by the New York City montage moment where it's like Trevor, is that his name? Trevor and Noah, whatever, Peter, on their own, and then Chrissy, God, I don't know anybody's names, Chrissy and LJ off on their own. And first of all, these fucking tour groups are just non-existent because they're just going around New York, fresh 17, 18-year-olds. But yeah, that part was weird, like them taking pictures. I'm like, just fucking enjoy the city. Come on. Like, you don't have to be weird about it. That was like the only cringy-ish, and it wasn't even that bad, so.
I was gonna say, I actually thought it was kind of cute. I think it was like, this movie had a self-awareness to it that it was going to be like kind of cheesy, over the top, rom-com-y. Like they made a lot of comparisons to old rom-coms. So for me, that part actually just kind of fit. I thought it was kind of cute. But yeah, the tour group's non-existent. Whose school is taking them on this many nice trips? Like in the first movie, they're going to this bougie skiing lodge. And this one, they're flying across the country to go to New York. And then the tour guides, or the chaperones, they're not there.
No.
These kids are going to NYU parties, and the chaperones are just nowhere to be found.
I know.
Like, why couldn't we, Katie, the only school trip we ever went on was to Washington, D.C. in 8th grade. Like, did we,
why did they take you on a trip with so many fucking photo opportunities when you are quite literally at your ugliest? No taste. We're all in fucking horrible splatter painted fucking neon blue sweatshirts that say Washington DC. The disrespect for our nation's capital. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're in a neon sweatshirt with zebra print lettering, Washington DC.
We have the greasiest hair.
Ew.
We got the most flared bootcut jeans with the tennis shoes.
Braces.
We all got braces.
Rubber bands.
We all got glasses. You are so right. I think some of the ugliest pictures that exist of me are from that trip. That's the one where I have my hands like tucked in my sleeve like that with my
Oh
hood
yeah.
up, my blunt bangs. It's
No.
gross. Also, who would ever want to chaperone that? Like, we probably all smelled.
Oh yeah, that long ass bus ride there too. And I remember our bus like
Oh my
broke down and we were just trapped
god.
in fucking Ohio or something for 3 hours.
Also, what kind of budget did this movie have that they could go to Seoul
Yeah.
and then also New York and film there? What kind of budget are they getting that they get to go to Korea?
Yeah, clearly a good one though. I mean, and it makes sense because these movies are so popular and like Netflix's budget is probably insane. But I don't know. I thought the sets were really pretty too. Like the wedding, her dad's wedding was so cute, and I just thought like all of their costumes and like the prom setting was also like really well done, and
Yeah.
all of their prom outfits, like lots of bougie moments and scenes that were all like
Mhm.
visually pleasing. It's kind of like in 50 Shades when they incorporate the balls and the galas, and like I like when movies do that, like movies that aren't super like content dense and like this is a very like simple plot, and so they
Mhm.
kind of put these scenes that are very visually stunning and just pleasing and fun to watch and like fun to kind of project yourself into and like wish you were there. And they're so
Yep.
beautiful. I just like that this movie, because I feel like the second one just didn't really have that. They had that like winter ball that was kind of just out of nowhere. I don't know. They had a lot of moments like that, like their trips and the dances and the wedding.
Normally, I think the second movie is always the best in like every
True.
franchise. And for this one is by far the worst. Or the
Yeah.
second one is by far the worst. This finale, like, way showed up the second one. It just reminded me a lot more of the first one in terms of vibe. And I don't know, it was just like a feeling watching it. It just
Yep.
felt very similar to the first one, where the second one just seemed like such a departure.
The feeling and the vibe that you're talking about, just that first love and that first high school relationship, like, and that's I think too part of why I was like, is this somewhat unrealistic? Yes, but like this is how your first love feels. Like it's very
Mm-hmm.
fantastical. It's very like, yeah, what are the odds that like you're going to be in New York City with your favorite person in the world in high school, this person that you're like super in puppy love with? Like obviously a lot of the like cute stuff they're going through, like the way he asks her to prom and like all these cute little dates that they go on, like yeah, it's a little far-fetched, but that's what being in love for the first time feels like.
It's a teen movie, so again, I'm not necessarily the person to. There are situations where I want realness and I want authenticity and I want like a very grounded lens on things. But this kind of movie, it's not where I necessarily feel like I want to be sitting there being like, this is not realistic. And I don't know, I want it to be a little more fantastical and a little more this is not like raw nitty gritty where I'm looking for everyone to be sad and broody and dark and I don't know.
I feel like there are a lot of fantastical moments that you can like escape into and just kind of let go and enjoy yourself a little bit. But there are real moments too, like her decision making and how she kind of felt like she was asking it. Like that one part where she asks Jen, like, what should I do? It's like, bitch, why the fuck are you doing? Like, that's so stupid, you know? But then I kind of got what she was going through. Like, making decisions is so hard. And when she said, like, how do I know what I'm going to be happy with in my future? Like, how do I know what's going to make me happy in the future? And she was talking about her prom dress choice, but in reality, she like was kind of alluding to her college choice. And that's so true. And like, so many movies are like, oh, just follow your heart. You know the answer in your heart. And it's like, bitch, no, you don't. Like, she really loves Peter and her heart wants him, but then she fell in love with New York too. And her heart wants that. And she could picture herself being with Peter forever, but she can picture herself at New York as well. Sometimes your heart doesn't know what it wants. And that can be like a really tumultuous time. And I like decisions are really hard for me to make, especially recently. It's like, feels like whatever thing I decide to do is gonna set the course of my life. I felt her on that. It's difficult, but then like it's within all these fantastical situations. So I thought it was a good balance, kind of like you're talking about. Like you can immerse yourself in this somewhat overdone love story, but there's also things that are kind of like, you're able to resonate with.
I didn't want to be cynical watching this.
Me neither.
Like, I didn't want to be like, they will never work out, or like there's no way that they'll be able to make it through 4 years, or even the fucking little sister meeting a guy in Korea. I was like, I'm shipping them.
I wanted
Like,
more of that. I wanted
to
him
root
to
for
I wanted
them.
him to show up at the wedding or something.
That would have been so cute. Again, it's like, I don't want to sit there and have this like teenager be thinking about all the real life issues that are going to come their way for a long distance relationship. Like, I didn't want to watch that. I already know what that is. Like, I don't want to, I want to see them like believe in themselves so much and like love will conquer all. I want to watch that. I don't want to watch someone sit there and be like, this is never going to work out. Because it's like, bitch, I already know that. Let me see someone living a good life, okay? I was here for that. And I also liked that this movie was actually dealing with a lot of like really big, like you said, a lot of really big decisions and like real life teen issues of just like going to the prom, like the small things like that, but that feel like the end of the world at that time. But all of the characters handle themselves like very maturely and very level-headed. I'm looking at you, Kissing Booth. Like, none of y'all do that.
Called their bitch asses out.
Or like this movie, all these characters are just like smart characters. Like, yes, they sometimes over dramatize their issues a bit to being where I'm just like, it's a limo at the prom, it's not that big of a deal. But they're self-aware enough to know that like there are bigger issues out there where like the Kissing Booth, they don't even talk about anything. They just run away and jump on a plane. Yep. You know, Peter and Laura actually Lara? LJ. Peter and LJ at least like talk about their issues.
This movie, I feel like a lot of contemporary rom-coms or like love stories have that kind of where those moments where they compare themselves to other rom-coms and like bring up rom-coms to kind of establish that they're aware that this is like cliche almost, and that makes it more enjoyable when like there's this moment of communication almost with like the creators of the film and the audience. It's kind of like, yeah, we know this is dumb, but you love it, and the audience is like, you're right, I fucking do, you know? It's like, yeah. And I appreciated that in this. I also appreciated because the moments like I would write something like, I hate this, and then they would address it later on, like when he gets into Stanford and she doesn't. I was like, you're telling me this dude is on a god level of lacrosse, that they're willing to overlook his inability to even read, because he's talking about how he like hasn't read a book without pictures, which obviously I know he can read, but like the dude is dumb. They're not gonna accept Lara Jean, who's getting into fucking Berkeley and NYU and like her grades are stellar. But then he addressed it later. He was like, you're way smarter than me, fuck them for not accepting you. And I was like, hell yeah, I love a self-aware character, I love a self-aware film. Like, you know what, say what you want about this shit, all right? I liked it, and it might just be because I am on one with my love story right now in my own life, but I don't know, I thought it was good, guys. Cancel the Cringe series. I just love every movie now.
Just wait until After We Fell comes out, then Katie will be back to be like, this is shit, this is garbage, fuck whoever made this.
True.
Because Katie, I don't know if you saw, but they wrapped the franchise. 3 and 4 are done. And in
Thank
the books,
God.
when they have conflict, they sit down and they at least resolve it. You know, I mean, granted, after prom, when they're like starting to get it on, and Peter's like, wait, we need to talk about this. Which also go him for stopping that. At that moment when he felt like that it was over, but she maybe wasn't on the same page yet. Like besides that moment, like I'm thinking of when she tells him finally that she didn't get into Stanford. I was like, I do not want to fucking see this, because I'm like, he's gonna be pissed, he's gonna run out, they're gonna ignore each other, they're gonna have this like stupid fight. And instead it was just very level-headed. They just kind of talked about it, and he was like, okay, you know, that's fine. And again, comforted her, being like, they're stupid, it's their problem that they didn't let you in. And he's like, we can work this out. And it was just very mature. I can't
agree.
think of any other words. I'm repeating myself with all of my words too. I want to fucking stab my eyes out.
No, I totally agree though. Like, I was definitely annoyed when she sent that text, and I was like, is this what the whole movie's gonna be? Like, her trying to keep up this act of she's going to Stanford, and then, like, the ending is gonna be like, are we gonna have to sit through 2 hours of this fucking charade, and then she finally tells him, and then they fight and make up, and that's the whole movie? But I was so glad to see that she told him on the trip, and, like, he took it really
Yeah.
well. And he did, like, I was a little put off by him putting these new, like, expectations, like, you'll just transfer after your freshman year. And I was like, that's gonna be problematic. And it ended up being problematic, like, when he was like, just transfer from NYU, like, after your freshman year. And she was like, no. And then he got mad about that. But also, it's like, yeah, it was, when he was like, well, what did you expect? It's like, yeah, he did kind of need to have that period of time where he's upset. And, like, you can't just take that news super well. It'd be weird if he took it well. So,
And I was on both of their sides. Again, like I saw both sides of this. I saw LJ being like, I really like New York. This is where I want to go. I need to have this time to myself. Like, and I think she would have regretted it down the road, and she was aware of that if she would have stayed behind, that she could have like resented Peter in the future. But then I also saw Peter's side of being like, we made a plan, this is what we were gonna do. Okay, that plan fell through. Okay, well, we made this backup plan, and this is like our new plan. And like,
mhm.
they were on the same page of that until she wasn't anymore. And I like really don't like when like Katie knows this, when like we have a solid plan, I hate it then when at the last minute everyone's like, never mind.
Mhm.
That bothers the absolute shit out of me. So I felt bad for Peter because I'm like, this is a very big plan that they're making together. And then for her to like bow out of that, I'm like, I get you, Peter, but then also like I get you, Laura Jean, of why you need to go to NYU. And also I would love to go to NYU too.
I could have met Timmy. You know what? They stole that sofa scene from fucking Broad City, and that's really annoying. How they stole that couch from that girl's ex's house. They fucking stole that
Oh my
right from Broad
God.
City. That's so rude
I
of them.
never even thought of that.
I just wanted to bring up one part that I really enjoyed. I liked when that little montage of when it's like she gets into Stanford and like life plays out exactly the way she wants to, and it's so tell you what I want, really 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 want, that the Go-Go's, right? That's who sings that.
Couldn't fucking tell you.
All right, well, I'm gonna say it's a Go-Go song, and if it's not, I'll just be stupid. Y'all already know I'm a fucking idiot. And then later, when she gets rejected, I like how that all plays in reverse slow motion, and it's like a slower minor key version of the same song. I thought that was really well done and a very like cool cinematic choice. Again, Michaela and I were talking about before we started recording, the same director who did the second movie did this one, and I feel like he really redeemed himself with this movie. I think he was trying to do something special in the second one, like with her riding on the camera dolly and like singing along to the song after her and Peter broke up,
Oh my God.
and then like floating into the sky at the end of the second one. I feel like he was trying to do something there and he just missed the mark a little bit, but he really did something with this. I liked the like the drawing of the settings, like to introduce new settings and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stylistic choices and like directing choices that he made were really good. And I was like, damn, bro, you really fucking pulled through with this. He's like, people hated my first movie that I did with this franchise. I'm gonna try to like redeem myself. And he came through.
And two, I like that there was no more girl hating in this one.
Me too.
That they decided to be friends with Jen again, and that she wasn't like an antagonist in this one. I really appreciated that. I felt like we were kind of past that point. We were kind of past the love triangle, past the girl hate. And I really liked her and Laura Jean's and Chrissy, their night out in New York together. It was just cute to see them all friends and having fun together. And same with like Jen and Christy being Jesus Christ, being cousins. And like seeing their dynamic, their like banter, that it's still like that little bit of hate, but like we're gonna get along now. I don't like in teen movies when the girls just hate each other for no reason. Now I'm looking at you after. Granted, like all those characters are ridiculous, but some of those girls are just fine. Like Molly and Tessa, I'm just like, you too.
When they just straight up brawl in the second movie. And
Like,
same with
what?
Harden, like any person with a dick, he's like, fucking Trevor. Is like so mad at everybody.
Like I said, there was just a maturity to this one.
Yeah.
Where I love the like angsty, moody vibe and after where they're all like so fucking ridiculous and they all hate each other just as much as they all want to fuck. But this one, I like that then we have the opposite of that where everyone is just trying to be friends. They have like this nice big friend group when they're all just chilling, hanging around, having a good time.
I wanted to bring up too was these weird tropes. Like, why is the female lead always falling? Joey King is completely always on her ass in fucking kissing booth and like ripping her pants and accidentally taking her shirt off, like clumsiest fucking bitch alive. Same with Anastasia in 50 Shades. Basically the first time we see her in like her first interaction with Christian, she fucking falls. And
She almost gets hit by a bicycle.
Same with
outside
Bella.
that coffee shop.
Same with Bella too. Like from Twilight, she's always falling. She's like can't take care of herself. She almost gets hit by a car, like tripping through life quite literally. And same with freaking Lara Jean. Like she falls in every movie. Like when she meets John Ambrose, she falls on the M&Ms. When she meets Peter, she fucking passes out. Like what is this girl's problem? She can't stay on her goddamn feet. She's so in love. I don't get it. Same with the contracts trope. We got a best friends contract in Kissing Booth. We got a fucking contract in 50 Shades. And we have a fake dating contract in this. I don't know what it is. There's something about contracts that people like. It's like a plot movement. Oh, you have to do this. And if you broke the contract, it's like a way to move through the plot. And they make this new contract at the end. I'm just like, what is it with the contracts?
It's because they're all books.
Is that why?
They're all books turned into movies. I feel like that's a very typical book trope. Or, well, I don't know if it would be like a trope, but it's definitely not uncommon that you see that in fiction. The fake dating, the enemies to lovers, the billionaire, like brother's best friend or best friend's brother, like they're all popular tropes.
Yeah.
I think it's just all a part of the romance genre and like rom-com genre that these things are reoccurring. And like I've said this before and I'll say it again, tropes work for a reason. And there's a reason why there are these tropes. It's because people like them and they work. So like don't hate on something for being like, that's a trope.
Right.
Yeah, and it also made these people a shit ton of money. So
right, yeah.
And Jenny Han just got her other book series bought out. Is it Netflix bought her other book series too now to make into movies? So Jenny Han's raking in the cash. Go her.
Hell yeah.
And I think that series has 3 books as well.
Okay, I take back everything I said. I do have a cringe moment, a cringe scene. When he licks the bowling ball. Or no, he doesn't lick it. He kisses it at the bowling alley.
The bowling ball?
Yeah, on their bowling date, he kisses it. That triggered every trauma response that I've adopted during this pandemic. Let me tell you, that moment I did cringe.
I go into these things with like low standards, so like I thought that I would at least enjoy it because I really did like the first movie, but after the second one, it like bottomed out my expectations. It was trash. So then this one going into it, I was like expecting very little, and after being so turned off by Noah Centineo, I was just really not. I was not expecting a lot. And I was just so pleasantly surprised. And that I really liked Peter again. And their whole relationship was just like cute, mature for being only 18. And the way that they dealt with their problems was fun to see, but like still created conflict, but without unnecessary conflict.
Me too. It was like a desirable relationship too. And I don't feel shame in saying that. Like, I think watching this, you can acknowledge the fact that like this is somewhat unrealistic, but also desirable. Like, it'd be fun to be in this type of relationship, you know, when you're young and you get to run around New York City. It might also be too because of the pandemic and like I just want to get the fuck out of here. But I don't know. I just really enjoyed watching this. It was a good escape, a good time, and I definitely recommend it. Like, as it's not a waste of time if you're in the mood for it and like able to manage your expectations. It's not the best movie ever, but
No.
It was good. Like, it wasn't trash. It wasn't hard to
Mhm.
watch. It was very easy to watch. And I enjoyed it. I loved how she filled the box that was her
Oh,
mom's. Like,
stop.
the box that was originally reserved for all the boys, now she just filled it with stuff for him. Like, that's fucking cute. That's good storytelling.
Yeah.
That's like a roundabout moment.
And the montage at the end too of them looking back on their
Yes.
journey. Again, I'm such a sucker for that. That's what you'll hear
Same.
in the next week's episode when we talk about 50 Shades. That montage at the end of 50 Shades makes me fucking emotional. Why? I couldn't tell you. Actually, I can. I'm starved for love and attention. That I'm like, I love it. And in this too, it was just so cute. And it made me be like, their journey's over. And like, I don't know. I loved it. I love an ending
Yeah.
montage.
Like a look at how far they've come moment. And like not
Mhm.
just them as these characters, but like them as actors. And we've all been on this collective journey, like through this franchise together. I think that's what those montage moments do. Like at the, I think I might have already talked about this in our next episode, whatever. But like in Twilight and with 50 Shades, like those ending montages, it's as much for like the fans as it is for the characters. Like we've been through this cultural journey as
Mhm.
a group of people watching this franchise year after year together. Like when that Twilight montage happened, it's like this film started when I was in middle school and now I'm like about to, be a sophomore in high school or whatever. Same with 50
Mhm.
Shades, like this franchise started when I was a senior in high school and it's finishing like when I'm in college. We've been on this journey where like we go and sit our ass in a theater to watch these characters every year and we've all been on
Mhm.
the like it makes you feel connected to the characters and their story and it's cool. I don't know.
In the Hunger Games, how they ended Mockingjay Part 2 with Peeta and Katniss in this field with their two little children. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, I don't like that. That's not how the book ended. I do not care because that moment looking back now, just it really is like looking at how far they've come as like these two characters and giving them like hope for a future. Like it just did so much at the end of that story rather than ending it exactly like how the book did.
Yeah, and they still kept that line in there that was like, "You love me, real or not real," and she says real,
Yeah,
like,
they
they still
did.
I'm glad that they still kept that line in, and then I like the line that she says, like, "And there are worse games to play," like, what a fucking roundabout moment, and she said she would never have children, like, sitting in the exact same spot with Gail, and then she fucking said it to her child, like, just get the fuck out. These people know what they're doing, okay? That's all I gotta say. I have respect for people who could make films that make me feel something. I have no shame in saying that this movie made me feel something. And so
Mhm.
fuck you. If you miss the cynical Katie, she probably will be back someday.
She'll be back for After We Fell and After Ever Happy. Just wait for
And Kissing Booth 3.
yeah, I mean, the kissing booth is just a hard fucking pass. After I'm genuinely excited to see how they wrap this shit up. But kissing booth I
Yes.
could care less of. You'll hear us next week defending why we like 50 Shades a lot. And Katie, I'm kind of glad that we didn't do that as much in this episode because you know what? Guys, we liked it. And if you didn't, that's cool. If you did, that's cool.
It's very Valentine's Day vibes. It's just like fun, like young love story vibes.
For once, parents in teen movies are actually helpful. Like her
Yeah.
dad and stepmom are a vibe. I mean, Peter's dad, not it, but her dad and stepmom, cute.
I think they're really cute and they're not like overly present. Like it's not its own whole different like subplot, but the whole thing of like her moving in and their life is changing. Oh my god, I forgot about the moment with the lock at the beginning
Oh, that was cute.
with the
That was
mom.
cute.
That was
Oh,
fucking adorable and
that was really
amazing.
cute.
And I love how we get to see like these young women growing up without their mom and like they're able to be sad about it and like talk openly about it with their dad and with like this new woman that their dad is like being with. I just really liked, again, it's like a mature way to handle a real world issue.
It was really cute and it was really pretty. I loved the sparkler send off at the end.
And I liked how she let the youngest sister wear a suit.
I know, what a vibe. And I did like that then when Kitty made a comment about like, don't take it out on me just because you're worried that you're gonna break up with Peter, and Laura Jean was like, that's mean, and went upstairs, and that the parents weren't like, Kitty, how dare you? They were, when Kitty was like, it said like, well, it's not wrong, and they were like, just because you're like saying the truth doesn't mean that it's like right to say it out loud. And I think that
Mhm.
a lot of people sometimes try to get away with like being mean by saying like, well, it's the truth, and it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that you need to like speak it out into existence. Like, just because you think it doesn't mean
Yeah.
you need to say it.
And I liked their cute little meet, like when he remembered their first meeting.
Yes.
That was cute. Like he's I don't know. I like how he remembers things that she likes and like he took the time to look up that song. Like I don't know.
I feel like this Peter was the same as like first movie Peter, where second movie Peter was just not even in the same stratosphere. So I don't know if in the book he's like that different or if something was just off with the second movie. I don't know.
They reeled it in. They salvaged it. And I mean kudos. Happy motherfucking Valentines. Next time we are going to be talking about 50 Shades. We already recorded that episode. So it's a little weird and out of order, but we're continuing with our like cringy Valentine's Day vibe here on the pod, and we will be discussing that franchise next week.
You know what? Honestly, Katie, I think has put me in a funk today is finishing Evelyn Hugo yesterday.
Oh.
Like I'm like not recovered from it. And I think I honestly think I kind of like affected my mood yesterday. Like it kind of put me in a bit of a funk, and I feel like I've kind of carried that over into today.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I have not read it all this week. So I'm like left off at where we were last week.
Don't be sorry. It was incredible.
We didn't even do a check-in this episode.
We didn't. Oh, because we got into the 1-star reviews. How we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing surprisingly really well. If you're listening to the pod consistently, you're probably just like, this bitch is unfucking stable. Tell me something I don't know. I'm a turbulent girly. Sometimes I'm really good, sometimes I'm really bad. I don't know why I have several long-lasting relationships. Mikhail and I have been friends since 3rd grade. Jack and I have been lovers for 6 years. I don't get it. I don't know how people put up with me for this long because I am just always on one, it seems like. Long story short, I'm good this week. I have 2 job interviews coming up. Actually 3. I keep fucking forgetting about one and I need to stop because I'm rescheduling it for a second time now because again, guys, turbulent. But yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy and fresh and groovy and fun. I got paid today, so it's just, you know what? We're trying to be positive.
I love that this week. Now I'm just waiting for the next time we record. You're gonna be like, I fucking hate everything.
I know,
but I love it. Just on that note, how Katie's like, I don't know how like me and Jack have put up with you. I don't know how you've put up with me. So it goes both ways. Maybe that's why we work. I'm like pretty good. I'm just kind of stressed right now. I'm moving now in a month, and there are just like a lot of grown up things that I have to do for that. Like there's just a lot of change coming my way, and change is something that really like affects my mental health, and that's not like something new. I knew that it would come. Like that's not fun. I don't know. I think there's just like I don't know. It's just not a mood right now. I'm not really like a vibe. There's just like a lot of things that I can't control, and that's like really putting some of my things out of whack.
Yeah.
So that's not fun. But I made Katie pre-record 50 Shades because when you guys are listening to this on Monday, so now tomorrow, the book that I have been anticipating so fucking long, I'm literally gonna go drive and get it on my lunch break, and like I cannot be bothered. I would like Katie, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna text you. I'm not talking to you until I finish this book. I am so excited. It's gonna be like 800 pages. It's gonna be 800 pages of amazingness, and I'm so fucking excited. So that is like really getting me through the time. I just want it to be Tuesday so I can have that book in my hands and Because
That's
that's
so
what I have to look
exciting.
forward to. Oh my god, and the other night, Katie, this is how low I've gotten. I'm gonna share a low, guys, now, because Katie always shares her lows, so I'm gonna share my lows. So on Friday night, I was feeling exceptionally bored. When are we recording this? This Friday. Oh no, sorry, it was Wednesday. Wednesday night, I was feeling very bored. And I was just like, was looking for something to fucking do. And there's this trend going around on TikTok right now, on the book side of TikTok, talking about like your most unpopular book talk opinion. And I was like, I'm gonna put out there, spoiler alert right now for the Divergent series, if you don't know it. I'm sorry. But anyways, the main character dies in that, and I absolutely love that she dies, but of course, all of the like teenagers fucking hate that she dies because they don't understand character death. And I was debating posting that just so that I could have the 13-year-olds attack me. Like, I was like, would that make my night more exciting? Yes. Is it worth it? No. But would it give me something to do and some entertainment? Also, yes. I didn't
That
end up
is,
doing it, but I still have it in my drafts. So whenever I'm feeling chaotic enough, I might post it still.
dude, I love that. That's literally, I feel like, the origin of the majority of like internet beef.
Exactly. So yeah, I was talking then with one of my friends, and she was like, would they even know? Like, is that series past their time? Like, is that
Could
series
be.
even something that they've read? And I'm like, that's a good point. And I'm like, then that made me feel really old, and then that made me feel sad that I've basically wasted my life. Even
Oh
though
my
I'm only
God.
24. So anyways, it's in my drafts. You might see it pop up in the next few weeks. We'll see. Rachel has posted her statement from Reality Steve.
Live on the pod, you guys.
While there have been rumors circulating, there has also been truths that have come to light that I need to address. I hear you, and I'm here to say I was wrong. At one point, I didn't recognize how offensive and racist my actions were, but that doesn't excuse them. My age or when it happened does not excuse anything. They are not acceptable or okay in any sense. I was ignorant, but my ignorance was racist. I am sorry to the communities and individuals that my actions harmed and offended. I'm ashamed about my lack of education, but that is no one's responsibility to educate me. I am learning and will continue to learn how to be anti-racist because it's important to speak up in the moment and not after you're called out for it. If you are a person who doesn't understand the offense in question, I urge you to learn from my mistakes and encourage you to use them as a teachable moment. As for my family, I love them and how they raised me to be my own individual. They have always encouraged me to have my own views, opinions, and beliefs. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to say, I couldn't help but think about how sick people must be of reading these kinds of statements, how a person didn't realize the trauma that their actions would inflict on other people. It must get so exhausting. I want to put my energy towards preventing people from making the same offensive mistakes that I made in the first place, and I hope I can prove this to you moving forward. Racial progress and unity are impossible without white accountability, and I deserve to be held accountable for my actions. I will never grow unless I recognize that what I have done is wrong. I don't think one apology means that I deserve your forgiveness, but rather I hope to earn your forgiveness through my future actions.
I mean, was that so hard? Like, why did we have to go through this fucking Chris Harrison bullshit run around? Like, was that so hard? I get taking the time to collect yourself and not, like, just putting out I respect that she took the time and wasn't, like, damage control right away. Yeah. But why did they have that Chris Harrison bullshit and, like, all this trying to spin it in a positive light? I'm not going to be the one to be like, okay, all is forgiven now, obviously, but...
Because that's not for Katie or I, or like...
Oh, hell no.
Oh, and even in her comment there, so I read it from a Twitter screenshot, now I'm on her actual Instagram where she posted it, and her comment with it was, my statement and apology is for the people of color that I have offended. If you do not identify as BIPOC, then it is not your apology to accept. Please be respectful to those who have been affected. I was gonna say, at least she seemed aware in it. Like, looking at it from a critical lens, like, I took a critical analysis communications class in college, and that was, like, my favorite class ever. And we would look at, like, apologies. This was right when the Harvey Weinstein stuff all got exposed, and Matt Lauer and all the stuff, so we were looking at all these men's, like, statements and, like, dissecting them. And actually hers, like, she didn't make a lot of excuses. Anyways, live on the pod. Thank you so much for listening. Y'all already know the drill. You can find all of our crap in the description box for Popcorn Chats TikTok, our personal social medias. All that garbage is in there. You can check that out. And again, don't be like that I mean, I guess if you want to give us a 1-star review, that's your prerogative, but please go give us a 5-star review.
Yeah, please tell your friends about Popcorn Chats, because we are trying to grow this podcast, grow the Popcorn Chats fam. So we would really appreciate it if y'all told people about the pod, download the episodes every week, and follow us, all the stuff. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for sticking with us. And we hope that you enjoyed this lovey-dovey movie. And we hope that you have a good week. And we'll see you on Monday for 50 Shades, bitch. Get ready.
I'm excited for you guys to hear that.
Lilas.